on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. You guys join us here in Angeles Canyons, and today we're going to be talking about everything you should know before buying a BMW M4 F82. So if you guys aren't familiar with these cars, BMW made these cars from 2015 to 2020. Within those 5 years of production, we have 5 different trim levels. We have the M4 Coupe Base, which is the one I own right here. Then you have the M4 Convertible. Then you have the M4 Competition. Then you have the M4 CS. And then finally you have the M4 GTS. As far as the power plant is concerned, this is the S55 BMW M motor. The base M4 comes with around 425 horsepower, and the GTS, the most hardcore one available from factory, comes with just south of 500 horsepower. So this motor is kind of a one of a kind. You don't really compare it to any other generation since it is twin turbocharged. This is not a naturally aspirated motor. With that, you get a lot more tunable power and a lot more speed. So these cars can be tuned easily to 550, 600 horsepower just by going stage 2 and adding full time. So that gives you an idea of the tuning capabilities and reliability that will come with tuning these cars as well. So this specific car has a base stage 2 tune with stock downpipes and a full exhaust system from AWE, which puts this car around 515 to 520 horsepower. You have 2 transmission options available from factory. We have the 7-speed dual clutch, which is in my car, and then you also can have a 6-speed manual transmission as well. The 7-speed dual clutch is said to last the lifetime of the car, or around 200,000 miles. Obviously, this is on stock power, so that's something to keep in mind if you guys are planning on tuning these cars. Now, the 6-speed manual, however, is built to last like a typical clutch life, so around anywhere from 60 to 100,000 miles, depending on how you're driving it. So as far as standard colors that are available from BMW from the factory, you have about 5 or 6 for the base models, and then you have a few individual colors as well. So the standard colors are Alpine White, Black Sapphire, Saphir Orange, Yasmarina Blue, Austin Yellow, and Silverstone. If you're looking to buy a car that does not have one of these colors, then it's most likely an individual or the person who spec'd the car paid extra to get that color. So in this case, this is mineral white metallic. I believe is an extra $600 from the factory. And obviously for the CS, they come with colors like San Marino Blue Metallic, Lime Rock Gray, and other colors that are standard for those type of trim levels. As far as wheels go, you get about 4 different options available from BMW from the factory. For the base M4 Coupe, you get 18 and 19 inches as standard. You can choose between the two. For the Competition comes standard with 20-inch wheels. And then the M4 CS, you get 19 inches in the front, 20 inches in the rear with a different design. The wheels that I have on this car are aftermarket 20-inch BD F-12 wheels, which for my personal taste is one of my favorite looking wheels. A lot of people don't like the Competition, the 20 inches wheels on this car. I'll let you guys be the judge. Headlights, you get non-adaptive and adaptive, so 2 different option headlights from the factory. Pre-facelift versus the facelift, you get 2 of each. So there's a total of 4 different headlights that you can get with the M4. This one has the first generation adaptive headlights, so the headlights actually move with the steering wheel. As far as the tail lights go, this is also the pre-facelift since this is a 2015 model year. So you get just the 2 LED light bars. You can get the LCI ones, which are more LED and they kind of swoop up, which is honestly a better design on the car. And then the M4 CS and the GTS, they get the OLED $10,000 tail lights. Good thing is companies have made aftermarket versions of it, which you can buy from anywhere from $600, $700, maybe even $800 just for those tail lights. They're not going to look exactly like the OEM ones, but they look pretty close. Good thing about the F8X generation is you have so many cosmetic options available from the factory. So if we start at the front, we do have an OEM M4 CS carbon fiber front splitter. They do offer some of these parts in non-carbon fiber. They also have different generations of front lips for this car. You do also have the option of getting carbon fiber or non-carbon fiber side skirts. You can also get carbon fiber mirror caps as well. And then the carbon fiber roof is as standard. You can get a sunroof on these cars. And as far as the rear end of the car goes, you can get the OEM carbon fiber spoiler, and then you can get a carbon fiber diffuser. This one is aftermarket and so is the spoiler, but the carbon fiber diffuser from factory ends about right here, so you don't get the extension from factory. And then on the interior of the car, you can get the OEM and performance shift knob, carbon fiber, and they have about 3 different steering wheel options, maybe even 4 that you can get from factory. On top of that, you can get the Alcantara and carbon fiber handbrake, and also the Alcantara and carbon fiber armrest as well. Now, as far as the seats themselves go, these are the base M4 seats. The competition seats have little holes in them for weight savings and enhanced design. Then the CS are the same seats as the competition, except they have the 3 colors from the M flag stitched into the headrest. And not only that, the sides of them are Alcantara, so it's an Alcantara and leather seat. So for the M4 GTS, they have 2 seat options available. You can get the same seats from the M4 CS, or you can get the genuine M Performance, really expensive race buckets, which go for probably north of $5,000, but they are absolutely made for the track and they will keep you planted inside of that car. And while we're in here, something to note about the GTS is it comes with a roll cage. It basically turns the M4 into a 2-seater, which this is a 2+2. Honestly, it's even a 4-seater. And then the seat badges that light up, they actually have a pre-facelift and facelift with that as well. So these are the pre-facelifts. They're actually prone to cracking a little bit, which you can kind of see right there. And the facelift ones say M3 or M4, and they're all blacked out, which in my opinion gives the car a much better look. Maybe I should upgrade to those at some point. And trim options, as far as the M cars go, they come standard with carbon fiber, I believe. But I have seen some with stainless steel. I've actually seen a couple with gloss black. So the CS and the GTS come with Alcantara trim that say CS embedded into the Alcantara, and GTS in orange and white lettering. So in these cars, you can also get extended leather on the dashboard and also on the door panels as well, which is nice stitched, genuine, I believe it's merino leather, which is soft. Most cars actually just have the regular kind of like vinyl. Then as far as iDrive go, they do have a few different generations. You can get Apple CarPlay for 2018 plus year models. For 2016 and 17, you get the updated iDrive with faster processing power and better looks. In this car, the highest audio system you can get is Harman Kardon. So as far as driving in this car, you get a few different driving modes as far as your steering goes, your suspension, and your throttle response. All of those in which are accessible here by the shift knob. You have to make sure that your car has adaptive suspension, which allows you to change the firmness of your suspension. Actually, most of the pre-facelift cars did not come with the adaptive suspension option. We're going to put all 3 of those into sport, which is my M1 button. You can store those modes, I guess, if you will, inside of those buttons. So you can have everything in sport, M1, everything in comfort, M2, however you want to customize it, you are able to do so. If you hear those burbles from the exhaust, in regular sport mode, they're very subtle. And if you go Sport Plus, they become more aggressive and sound more like pops and bangs. The base M4 actually comes with no burbles at all. So the burbles come with the competition, the CS, and the GTS. For those of you with the base M4 looking to get a base M4 in sport mode, this is roughly around what your car will sound like. So it's not nearly as exciting. I'm personally a big fan of the burbles that come with these cars. Easily tune your base M4, which is what I have done to get these burbles, just a factory burble map from BMW. You can get that through many different companies. Mine was from Alpine Motorsport, is the base stage 2 tune. But even a stage 1, you can just have those burbles and get an extra maybe 50-60 horsepower without doing anything else to the car. As far as reliability on these cars, they are pretty bulletproof. I've driven this car from Florida to Michigan, which is over 1,000 miles. I've also driven this car from Michigan to California, which is where we are right now, which was a total of 2,500 miles. And I haven't had any issues so far with this car. Now, the most common issues with these cars is actually the crank hub. So a lot of people get these cars knowing that they can be tuned very easily, and they add a lot of horsepower, as much as they really possibly can get away with, depending on their budget. And the only problem with that is, number one, the crank hubs on these cars can be real weak because they're only rated for 420 horsepower, maybe 450, at most 500 horsepower. So you got a lot of guys out here doing the full bolt-on, getting these cars to around 600, 700, in a lot of cases 800 horsepower without replacing the internals of the car. So the crank hub, you can do your research on it, but that is the weak point of this motor and this platform. So if you're looking to do some serious tuning on the car, I would definitely replace that. My tuner said you really have to worry about it when you go above 550 horsepower, which is stage 2 plus, with the catless downpipes and other modifications. But aside from that, these cars do really well. Brakes are really well. Something to note, the brakes are squeaky at low speeds. So when you're installing the front splitter on these cars, it's actually pretty difficult to keep the under little tray body. Most people actually take them out, and that's one of the biggest mistakes you can do, because then it makes your intercooler prone to being hit by rocks. And when that happens, it leaks oil and empty. And the whole thing is, you don't really know that you're leaking oil until it's too late. So if you spin that crank hub, then you basically will lose your motor. So you'll have to get a whole new motor. And obviously if you're tuning the car, that's not under warranty. And if your car is, you know, pre-facelift and out of factory warranty as is, then you're gonna have to figure something out in that department. So aside from that, these cars are seriously bulletproof. I mean, you guys have seen how many road trips and just all the stuff I've done with this car. I hear these cars are incredible track cars. Not much to worry about as far as maintenance. We're gonna go back into comfort mode. Servicing is fairly cheap on this car. Biggest thing you'll have to worry about is the battery. So the battery is meant to last at least 100,000 miles on these cars, if not more. They're really meant to last the lifetime of the car, as BMW puts it. But with that being said, if for some reason you do have to replace the battery, it is around $1,200 for the OEM battery. So obviously with like the E92 M3, you can expect to pay, you know, maybe $400, $500. You're looking to spend twice that for this F generation M car. So that's something to keep in mind. This car really struggles to get traction, even in broad daylight with the sun heating up the road in perfect conditions and everything. It really was a struggle to get traction on that car. So I opted to get some wider wheels, wider tires, which has resulted in much better performance overall. You can still get it sliding just a little bit when you want, but when those tires warm up, they really hook. So I'd recommend getting maybe 20 by 10, 20 by 11, and that's really gonna help with that traction issue. It looks like somebody's having a bad day. It's like they're driving too spiritedly after the canyons, and we're just gonna slide right by. So as far as exhaust options go in this car, you do have plenty of options. They do come with the M Performance titanium exhaust, which sounds really good. You also have just the normal M Performance exhaust, and then you have the stock exhaust. I believe there's even a competition exhaust. So there's a lot of different options you can get as far as the F8X generation goes in exhaust work. You get a lot of different sounds. In aftermarket, they do have the equal length exhaust option with this car, which really changes the whole sound and pitch of this car. Makes it sound more of like an old school Supra or an old school Nissan GTR. So it almost doesn't even sound like an inline six anymore. Some people love that because they hate the exhaust sound on this car from factory, and then some people don't like it because it just does not sound like it's meant to sound like that. You know, exhaust with this car is hit or miss. I think you can't compare it to something like the E92 M3 because that's one of the best sounding cars of all time. And obviously this was the next car, the car that replaced it. It's obviously an inline six forced induction twin turbo car, so you can't expect it to be anywhere near that glorious sound of the S65 from the E92 M3. But with that being said, I really love the sound of these cars. Camera does not do it justice at all. So that should just about do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Instagram at Beemer Fam. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.